Warning. Here at Gamingverse we review the complete story of a game. In doing so, we will spoil a lot of the game. If you don't want to have the storyline of the game spoiled for you, we suggest you turn off this video right now. This has been your spoiler warning.
Happy Future Day, everyone! Okay, it's not quite Future Day yet, but it's almost upon us, and here at Gamingverse we take these things really seriously. So we decided to review every episode of the Telltale Back to the Future game to celebrate that we still don't have any flying cars. Well, realizing that I know a few drunk drivers, I am happy we're not flying.
Whoa! What about the Batman month? We still haven't reviewed Arkham Origins!
That is true. Unfortunately, we have been experiencing some royalty problems with music in that game, and YouTube didn't allow us to upload. So I had to play the game again without the background music. Then my video card burned out and I had to replace that. When that was all said and done, it was vacation time and shit, I don't feel like playing another Batman game anymore anytime soon. We also have a new formula for how we review stuff, and now that we do that, that would mean I have to rewrite the entire review, and yeah, just call it quits, maybe some other time.
Fuck. But wait, a new formula? Like the cocaine I totally don't sell, by the way. So what is the new formula?
Here at Gamingverse, we focus on the story of a game. In our other reviews, we always ended up talking about the gameplay and the presentation of the game while discussing the game. I hate it. It just
like my interruptions.
Something like that, yeah. So from now on we split the review into 4 segments. Presentation, controls, story, and DLC. So let's just stop explaining and get into it, shall we?
That's a great idea. Oh, are we already in the cutaway?
Good evening. I'm Dr. Emmett Brown.
Presentation! Back to the Future, the game sports a cartoonic style. At first I wasn't too happy about this. I was hoping for it to be a bit more realistic, but over time I got into it, and in a way it reminds me of the Back to the Future animated series.
Not just to me, but
The what now?
Back to the Future.
You know, the cartoon from the early 90s. It's focused on Doc and his family.
I don't have any recollection of.
That.
That. I seem to recall it vaguely. And you're saying the game is based on this?
No. Actually, the series has nothing to do with the game and isn't even in continuity. You know what? Forget the series!
And the game is in continuity?
Yes! No. Maybe. Possibly. Depends on if you're a purist or not. I take the game as it is. Fun. The voice acting is top notch, and this is all accompanied by nice looking visuals. The animated styles allows for some nice visual expression, and to top it all off, we are treated to the return of Christopher Lloyd in his classic role as Doc Brown.
it should be fine. I've already invented the idea of the rocket drill. You've just got to goad my younger self into finishing the prototype.
Awesome.
He delivers his line as perfectly as he did 30 years ago. We also need to give kudos to AJ Lacascio, and I'm sorry if I raped your name just now, I didn't try to. But he took on the role of Marty and he nailed it.
I guess I better get started. Don't worry, Doc, I'll get you out of here in no time.
If I didn't know it wasn't Michael J. Fox, I probably wouldn't even be able to tell.
And there you have it. The Back to the Future review.
Wait! That wasn't my verdict. We have to go into controls next. Controls! Okay. In essence, the game is like an old point-and-click game moved into the modern era. It sounds good, but it isn't well executed at all. I've played this game on both PC and Wii, and the controls are terrible. Marty controls like a tank. Remember the old Resident Evil controls? Well, it's like that, but on ice. You never feel completely in control and often find yourself sliding past the fence because you can't walk in a straight line. This is only made worse because of the static camera. Whenever you leave the screen, you get another viewpoint and the controls just switch in a different direction. It's hard to understand if you haven't played it, but just trust me, Back to the Future is Resident Evil on ice.
Yeah. The fact that you have to select intractable objects with the mouse cursor, that doesn't help either. You often walk into an area only to move the mouse around in the hope you find something useful. Then when you click it, Marty walks over to it, out of your control, only to stop the entire action if you accidentally press the control button.
The game is also confusing if you have played it a few times. Sometimes you know what has to be done, but the game refuses it and you have no clue why. Here, for example, I needed to bang on the pipe with my tape recorder to trigger a lift. Just go with it. But whenever I try it, I can't get Marty to do it. He even outright tells me that he has no idea what that would accomplish. So I give up and click on the pipe without the recorder, and now he bangs on the pipe with the recorder!
Whoa, dude. I never thought I would hear you rage about Back to the Future so much.
Yeah, we're not off to a good start. Fortunately, all this is neglectable. We are now moving into the most important part of the game. Story. STORY! The game starts with the first time travel scene from the movies, recreated in-game. But not as you'd expect, as the DeLorean with Einstein in it doesn't reappear after 1 minute.
Doc?
Huh, that's peculiar.
Where's the car, Doc?
I've made a horrible...
Soon things get worse as Doc realizes that he made a mistake and vanishes.
Doc! No!
I'm sorry, Marty.
Wait, is this a reboot?
Come back!
Fortunately, it is not. Marty wakes up from the nightmare in a scene reminiscent of the wake-up scenes from, well, all the movies actually.
Marty, is everything okay?
Yeah, Mom. It was just a nightmare. I was in the past, and Doc was there.
Yeah, as it turns out, it's now 6 months after Back to the Future 3. Doc is left with his family and hasn't been seen since. This has led to his estate being in debt and all his possessions being sold. Amongst the buyers is Biff, being a dick as usual.
What? No, this is wrong! Biff was changed! He was cowardly and nice to everyone in the family! The whole point of his story arc in the movies was that without being held up by George, he still managed to start his own company and became a friend of the family. This Biff is just wrong!
And you're saying this was the good part of the game?
Yeah, just let's keep going. It gets better.
Sorry, Marty.
Okay. Marty finds Doc's notebook, and after a bit of fun with Biff and the famous amplifier, he gets to keep it.
Now watch me blow the lid off this joint.
Whatever you say. Rock on, Biff. Oh, shit. Where are you?
When Marty asks where the dock is, he suddenly hears the DeLorean arrive at the front door. But when he goes to check it out, he only finds Einstein, a shoe, and a tape recorder in it.
Einstein! Where do you come from, boy? Didn't you bring Doc with you?
Why? How? Okay, let's calm down and treat this as the adult that... Why the hell would Doc send the DeLorean at this moment in time? How did he even know Marty would be there? Why, after 6 months, not sooner or later? Later we learned that Doc's kids are now teenagers. Well, why did it send it to them? How did he even send the DeLorean to this time and place? Why did he leave it charged? You do need to fill Mr. Fusion to generate the 1.21 gigawatts to travel through time! And wouldn't people notice when a futuristic car would drive around without a driver? How did Einstein get in the car? If the car wasn't locked, couldn't get anyone in there?
Not to mention that the car was supposed to be destructible.
He's in trouble.
there's actually an explanation for that. It's a bit skipping ahead, but here is it.
Where'd the DeLorean come from? The last time I saw it had been smashed to pieces by a train.
It's a fantastic story. Do you remember when the DeLorean got struck by lightning in 1955?
Yeah?
Unbeknownst to either of us, the lightning produced a temporal duplicate of the time machine, one that was tossed 70 years into the future.
What?
I found out about it during a trip to 2025 and recovered it just in time to stop Griff Tannen from vandalizing the time stream.
Heavy. So that DeLorean...
Is for all intents and purposes the exact same machine as the original. Plus or minus little bells and whistles I've added over the years, of course.
So the time machine traveled both forward and backwards in time, and that's how we ended up with two of them.
Yeah, let's just go with that one. So Marty wants to save Doc from being in another time without a time machine because he sent it to the future!
Whoa, chill, dude. Maybe it's a good time to take your meds.
I'm fine.
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
Come on.
So Marty wants to go back for Doc, but the time circuits are malfunctioning.
How am I supposed to find him now?
Because Doc created a retrieval system instead of fixing the circuits that have been on the fritz since Back to the Future 2!
Whoa, cool down, man, cool down. So, without knowing where Doc is, Marty gives up and goes home. He eventually sells the car for parts.
You know that's not true. Marty lets Einstein smell the shoe, he feigns, and follows him to the home of Strickland.
What the fuck? I never imagined Principal Strickland into cross-dressing.
No, not really. This is the shoe of Edna Strickland,
Einstein, come
his
on.
sister.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Edna is,
Yeah?
well, basically,
Yeah?
she's a female Strickland who's obsessed over how people should
Can
behave.
you let me in?
She spends
I've
her
got
days
something to
in
show you.
her apartment surrounded by piles of papers and shouting at people through her megaphone.
It's at this point we discover that Marty's relationship with Jennifer is over, and that his puerile urges force him to look love in more, shall we say, disturbing places?
I need a date.
Don't look at me. I'm far too old for you.
Former speakeasy.
You are ruining this for me.
Expo delights
Marty
crowds.
finds out when Doc Brown is by
Exposed.
asking Edna when she
Here
lost
we
her
go.
shoe.
Speakeasy
Edna tells him it was the
arson
day
and slain.
that the speakeasy burned down.
Proceeded
By
to
looking through the
play
papers, Marty
old-fashioned
finds out when that
last
was.
night when a mob
This
descended
goes as
on
well
the
as you'd
Valley
expect
Police
with Marty.
Station. The suspect in the speakeasy arson case, a drifter known as Carl Sagan, was pulled from his... Carl Sagan? It's Doc! Killed by a mob. What's the date? June 14th, 1931. Jeez, I gotta rescue him.
My newspapers!
Sorry, Miss Strickland. Let me...
No! You've gotten my history out of order! Oh, do you know how long it'll take to fix what you've done? Oh, get out! Get out! Get out!
Marty quickly dresses to fit in with the times and charges the time machine when he is interrupted by his father.
This is where the game becomes awesome. This scene hints at a lot of things in the relationship between Marty and his father. When George sees Marty in costume at the DeLorean, he confronts him. Marty can't think of a good lie and George busts him on it. But then this
My
happens.
uniform. Didn't I tell you? I got a job.
At the Model T factory?
Yeah. No.
Never mind, you don't have to explain. I'm sure whatever it is you're up to, you know what you're doing, right?
I hope so.
Hey, sometimes you gotta go out on a limb for the ones you love, right? Wish my dad had understood that. You won't stay away too long.
You barely know I was gone.
At first you think that George is now just mellow with Marty having a secret. But think about it. Here, Marty is with a strange-looking car, wearing 1930s clothes, and George just accepts it. He simply asks when Marty will be home.
Time circuits?
Now, no matter how mellow a parent is, they would find the whole thing a bit strange. Unless he knows. A lot of people have been making remarks that it's weird that Marty's father never has been curious why his son looks exactly like Calvin Klein, who dated his wife back when they were young. Even the most trusting person would have a few questions about that. But George is a science fiction writer. He may take his passion a bit too far. Back in Back to the Future 1, he even believed that Darth Vader came from the planet Vulcan to bring him and Lorraine together.
Who are you?
My name is Darth Vader. I am an extraterrestrial from the planet Vulcan.
So what?
So what if he figured it out? What if one day George started to see that his youngest son looked a lot like Calvin Klein, and his sci-fi mind just lit up? Then at the end of Back to the Future 1, when Doc arrived and left in a flying DeLorean, he put one and one together and discovered that Marty and Calvin Klein were the same person.
Holy crap!
Cut it, George. The Supreme
Mind blown.
Klingon hereby commands
But why
you
hasn't he told us to
take
Marty?
a female unit known as
And George
Baines
respects his son's
Lorraine to a
privacy
place
and
called
maybe he
Mill
just
Valley
doesn't want
High
to know all
School.
about it.
Exactly 4 Earth cycles
That...
from now.
yeah, that makes
This
sense.
Saturday night, George.
Dude, that makes me look at George McFly in a whole new way.
Scary.
You want me?
So Marty gets in the car and drives off.
Why isn't he flying?
Good question. I suppose for the same reason why the car doesn't fly in Back to the Future 3, the flying circuits may be burned out.
But didn't it end up in the 2020s? So couldn't Doc have repaired the circuits?
Yeah, that is weird. Anyway, when Marty arrives in the past, he appears exactly in between a cop chasing some criminals. This gives the criminals a chance to escape and forces the cop off the road.
Marty hides the car and heads into Hill Valley. When he arrives at the scene of the burnt down speakeasy, he is interviewed by what I can best describe as an obsessed reporter. Wait. She's Edna!
Yes, back in the 1930s, Edna was a young reporter who was a bit too controlling of the news. She has a clear opinion of the events. Marty finds his way to the police station and finds Doc. As soon as Doc appears in the game and we hear Christopher Lloyd reprise his part, the whole feeling of the game changes. Sure, we've seen and heard Doc at the beginning of the game, but at this point we have the true reunion of Doc Brown and Marty. Until now we've had actors attempting to do voices of classic characters, with a near-perfect Marty, but a bad attempt at Biff. But now Doc and Marty are back together and that's how it feels.
So what's our plan for getting you out of here?
Plan? We don't need a plan.
So Doc was present when the speakeasy burned down. He wanted to discover who set the fire. Unfortunately, he was arrested and mistaken for the arsonist. After some thinking, Doc comes to a conclusion. The only way to get him out is by getting the rocket drill currently being developed by his 17-year-old self.
But it's so wonderful to see you.
Yeah, that makes kinda sense. Drill the wall down with the help of a young Emmett Brown. What's the worst that can happen? Yeah, it's going to happen.
At this point we get into some odd and confusing puzzles. I'll try to go through them as fast as possible. We need to convince young Emmett to trust you by recording his mothering and letting the adult Doc solve it. With this you can convince Emmett that you're from the patent office, but then Emmett doesn't have time to help you because he's working for his father at the courthouse. The only way to get him to help you is by giving a subpoena to the local mafia's number cruncher, who happens to be Marty's grandfather.
Okay, and the mafia is also run by Kid Tannen, Biff's father. Figures. It looks like the Tannen family is corrupt to the core.
I'll say. This also explains why Biff lives with his grandmother in Back to the Future 2. His father is in jail at that time. After giving the subpoena to Artie, you need to get the alcohol to make rocket fuel. So you mess with the secret supplies of the soup kitchen to get the alcohol in the hands of Edna, who brings the soup to local charities.
You then go to convince Edna to have the meetings at the Stay Sober Societies in Emmett's house and that they need soup. So we finally have the soup.
What's the scoop?
Booze, and it's time to make the rocket drill.
But when Emmett starts to make the fuel, he's interrupted by his father, Judge Brown, who's pissed off by a group of drunks on his lawn.
But the experiment is already going, and it needs to be done. So while Emmett is fighting his father, he says certain words emphasized. This is to hint Marty at what he needs to do.
It starts out easy, but after a short while it speeds up. It gets even harder when Emmett's father starts to emphasize his words as well.
When the experiment finishes, Emmett quickly finishes his conversation with his father and comes back. The rocket is done and ready to be used. But Marty can no longer lie to young Emmett and tells him mostly the truth.
I lied to you. but I didn't want to. It was the only way I can get you to trust me. See, there's somebody who's in big trouble. Someone very important to me, to both of us. I can't tell you who, but I need to save him tonight, and I need your invention to do it. I'll get it back to you, I promise. And, Emmett, you're gonna be a great inventor.
Wait! Keep the throttle at about 8.
Marty finally has the drill and it's off to save the duck. But it was all in vain. The drill breaks to pieces when he tries to use it and Duck is already gone. Yep, we've spent several arduous moments in this game for nothing!
Brother.
But Marty quickly attaches the rockets of the drill to Edna's bike and he goes after Duck. Insert ET reference here.
It turns out the dock is being taken by Kid Tannen, who believes that the dock is an arsonist who burnt down Speakeasy.
Marty saves Duck and they go back to the DeLorean. To go back to the future.
He said it! He said it!
But right before they can leave, Marty starts to fade out. Something happened and Marty is being erased from history.
To be continued!
And that's the first part of the Back to the Future adventure game series. Join us again next week for the next part of the game. And until then, let us know in the comments what you thought of the game and the review. And game on!